Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a closer look at an incredible Washington quarter that has collectors talking. At first glance, it may seem like just another old coin, but hidden details, rare mint errors, and unique features could make it worth an unbelievable amount. Don't skip this video because by the end, you'll know exactly what to look for. And you might even discover that a valuable treasure has been sitting in your own collection all along. First up, the 1989D Washington quarter sitting in your pocket today could look like nothing more than ordinary change. It may have scratches, worn details, and years of circulation behind it. Yet collectors know that some coins hide extraordinary stories, and under the right circumstances, a seemingly common quarter can become one of the most talked about discoveries in the hobby. The coin we're exploring today is the 1989D Washington quarter, struck at the Denver Mint. Millions of these quarters were produced for everyday commerce, meaning most examples are only worth their face value or a small premium. But every now and then, collectors encounter a coin with an unusual mint error, exceptional strike, or rare variety that completely changes its value. The obverse features George Washington facing left, with the words "Liberty" across the top, "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date 1989 at the bottom. Just above the date is the small D mint mark showing it was struck in Denver. On the reverse, you'll find the famous eagle with spread wings, clutching arrows and olive branches, surrounded by United States of America, E pluribus unum, and the denomination $quarter. The 1989D quarter is made from a copper core covered with layers of copper nickel. It weighs approximately 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness of about 1.75 millimeters with a reeded edge. These specifications match other modern Washington quarters produced during the same era. Now, let's talk about condition. The coin in today's example is described as circulated with scratches and a very fine grade. In this condition, much of the original mint luster has disappeared, and the highest points of Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers show noticeable wear. Small contact marks and scratches are expected after decades of circulation. Normally, a circulated 1989D quarter in very fine condition is not considered a rare coin. Thousands of similar examples exist. However, collectors never stop checking these coins because a tiny minting mistake can transform an ordinary quarter into a remarkable discovery. Some of the most valuable possibilities include major off-center strikes, double strikes, dramatic die breaks, wrong planchet errors, broad strikes, clipped planchets, or significant doubled dies. These mistakes occurred during the minting process and are much scarcer than ordinary business strike coins. Imagine finding a 1989D quarter struck on the wrong metal or one showing an unmistakable dramatic mint error. Those are the types of coins that attract competitive bidding from advanced collectors. Instead of being worth just 25 cents, they could sell for hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars depending on the rarity and authentication. You may have seen claims online suggesting that a 1989D Washington quarter is worth more than $340 zeroth. While headlines like these attract attention, collectors should understand that such extraordinary prices would require an exceptionally rare, unique, and professionally authenticated coin. A normal circulated quarter with scratches does not command that value. That is why authentication is so important. Reputable grading companies carefully examine the coin to determine whether it is genuine, whether it has been altered, and whether any mint error is authentic. Without professional verification, extraordinary value claims should always be viewed with caution. So, what should you inspect if you own a 1989D quarter? First, check the mint mark. Make sure the D appears natural and has not been altered. Second, weigh the coin using a precise digital scale. An incorrect weight could indicate an unusual planchet or another minting anomaly. Third, inspect both sides under magnification. Look for doubling in the lettering, unusual die cracks, missing design elements, or signs of an off-center strike. Fourth, examine the edge. Missing clad layers or unusual coloration can sometimes indicate a valuable mint error. Fifth, avoid cleaning the coin. Even a light cleaning can reduce collector value because it leaves hairline scratches and removes the original surface. Many valuable discoveries have happened because someone decided to examine an ordinary coin instead of spending it. Estate collections, old coin jars, inherited albums, and forgotten piggy banks continue to produce exciting finds every year. Collectors enjoy searching through rolls of quarters because every coin represents another opportunity. Most coins will be common, but occasionally a genuine mint error or high-grade survivor appears where nobody expected it. The Washington Quarter series remains one of America's most collected coin programs. Its long history, beautiful design, and wide variety of mint errors make it attractive to beginners and experienced collectors alike. If you happen to own a 1989D Washington Quarter with an unusual appearance, don't assume it's damaged or worthless. Take clear photographs, compare it with known examples, and if the features seem extraordinary, consider having it examined by a professional grading service. Remember, the real treasure isn't believing every viral price claim. The real treasure is learning how to identify genuine rarity. Knowledge allows collectors to separate ordinary pocket change from truly exceptional discoveries. So before you spend your next quarter, take a closer look. That worn 1989D Washington Quarter may simply be worth 25 cents, or it could reveal a fascinating mint error that turns an everyday coin into a collector's prize. The next remarkable discovery could already be waiting in your pocket, your change jar, or a forgotten drawer, just waiting for someone observant enough to recognize its hidden potential. Next up. The next coin on today's list is the 1979D Washington Quarter, a coin that millions of Americans once carried in their pockets without giving it a second thought. At first glance, this circulated quarter shows years of use, light scratches, and flattened hair details on George Washington, placing it in about fine condition. Most people would spend it without hesitation, but experienced collectors know that every coin deserves a closer look. This quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark below the date. It is composed of a copper core with copper nickel-clad layers, weighs approximately 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. These are the standard specifications for Washington quarters of this era. Although millions of 1979D quarters were minted, genuine mint errors are much scarcer. A coin struck off-center, on the wrong planche, with a dramatic doubled die, or another major mint error can attract significant interest from collectors and sell for much more than an ordinary example. The coin shown here has obvious circulation wear. Washington's hair is flattened, the highest design points are worn, and surface scratches tell the story of decades spent changing hands. On its own, this level of wear usually limits value. However, collectors never judge a coin by wear alone. They also search for rare minting mistakes. Examine the date, the D mint mark, the lettering, and the eagle on the reverse under good lighting. Look for doubled letters, missing details, unusual die cracks, clipped planches, or signs the coin was struck on the wrong metal. Those are the discoveries that can transform an ordinary quarter into a sought-after collectible. Never clean the coin before having it examined. Cleaning can permanently damage the original surface and reduce collector value. Instead, store it safely and compare it with documented mint error examples. If the coin appears unusual, professional authentication is the best way to determine whether it is a genuine mint error. Many of the most exciting coin discoveries begin with ordinary pocket change. While a typical circulated 1979D Washington quarter is usually worth only face value or a modest premium, a genuine and authenticated mint error example can command much higher prices in the collector market. So before you spend your next Washington quarter, take a few extra seconds to inspect it carefully. The difference between an ordinary coin and a remarkable collector's item often comes down to one tiny detail that most people never notice. Your next great discovery could already be hiding in your pocket, waiting for a sharp-eyed collector to uncover its story. The next coin may look like nothing more than an ordinary 1979D Washington quarter, but hidden beneath years of circulation could be a remarkable story. At first glance, you notice the familiar portrait of George Washington, a fine level of detail, visible circulation scratches, and flattened hairlines caused by years of use. Most people would never think twice before spending a coin like this. However, experienced collectors know that sometimes an ordinary-looking quarter can hide an extraordinary mint error that transforms it into one of the most desirable collectibles in the numismatic world. The Washington quarter has represented American history since its introduction in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. What was originally intended as a one-year commemorative coin quickly became a permanent part of American coinage. By 1979, the Washington quarter had become one of the most recognized coins in everyday commerce, passing through millions of hands across the United States every single day. The Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark, produced hundreds of millions of Washington quarters during 1979. These coins were struck using the standard copper-nickel-clad composition adopted after silver was removed from circulating quarters in 1965. Every quarter weighs approximately 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, has a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, and features a reeded edge that helps protect against clipping and counterfeiting. Looking closely at the obverse, George Washington faces left beneath the word Liberty, while In God We Trust appears to the side of his portrait. The date 1979 is positioned below, and the D mint mark identifies the coin as being struck at the Denver Mint. On the reverse, a powerful eagle spreads its wings above a bundle of arrows surrounded by olive branches, representing America's strength and commitment to peace. Your featured coin is described as being in circulated fine condition, with noticeable scratches and flattened hairlines on Washington's portrait. These characteristics indicate years of circulation and normal wear. While ordinary circulated examples generally have modest collector value, the presence of a genuine mint error could completely change the coin's importance. Collectors search 1,979 D quarters for dramatic production errors that occurred during the minting process. These include major off-center strikes, broad strikes, double strikes, clipped planchets, wrong planchet errors, retained cuds, die cracks, and significant doubled dies. Unlike damage caused after the coin left the mint, these errors occurred during production and are highly desirable because of their rarity. Among the most exciting discoveries is a quarter struck on the wrong metal blank. Such mint mistakes are extremely uncommon because modern minting operations include strict quality control procedures. Yet every so often, an error escapes inspection and enters circulation unnoticed. Years later, a lucky collector may discover that an ordinary-looking quarter is actually one of the rarest pieces from its year. Even flattened hairlines can become an interesting feature when combined with an authenticated mint error. Collectors carefully examine Washington's hair, facial details, lettering, rim, and mint mark, using magnification to determine whether unusual characteristics resulted from the minting process rather than ordinary wear. Professional authentication is one of the most important steps in determining value. Third-party grading services examine the coin under specialized equipment, confirm whether an error is genuine, assign an official grade, and encapsulate the coin for long-term protection. Certified coins consistently attract greater confidence from collectors and auction bidders. Auction results have repeatedly shown that rarity drives value far more than age alone. Millions of 1,979 D quarters were produced, but only a tiny number with spectacular authenticated mint errors are known. When collectors compete for one of these rare pieces, bidding can become intense. Exceptional error coins have achieved astonishing prices because there may be only one or two comparable examples available to collectors worldwide. If you own a 1,979 D Washington quarter, begin by inspecting it under bright light with a magnifying glass. Look for unusual doubling in the lettering, dramatic off-center strikes, abnormal metal color, missing design elements, clipped edges, or other features that clearly originated during minting. Never clean the coin, because cleaning permanently damages its original surface and usually lowers collector value. Store promising coins inside protective holders to prevent additional scratches. If you believe your coin displays an authentic mint error, have it evaluated by a reputable coin dealer or submit it to a professional grading service before making assumptions about its value. The story of the 1,979 D Washington quarter proves that hidden treasures can sometimes appear in the most ordinary places. While the vast majority of circulated examples are worth only face value or a small collector premium, a genuinely rare, authenticated mint error can become the centerpiece of a collection. That possibility is exactly why dedicated collectors never overlook an old Washington quarter. The next remarkable discovery could be sitting quietly inside an old coin jar, a family collection, or even in your own pocket, waiting for someone to recognize its true rarity. Next up. The next coin may look like nothing more than an old, worn quarter hiding in a drawer, but appearances can be incredibly deceptive. This is the 1982D Washington quarter, struck at the Denver Mint. It has circulated for decades, showing scratches, fine details, and an attractive green toning that gives it a vintage appearance. Millions of people have handled coins just like this without a second glance. But what if one of these ordinary-looking quarters turned out to contain an extraordinary mint error? In the rarest cases, authenticated examples with dramatic minting mistakes have attracted astonishing attention from collectors, making every 1982D quarter worth a closer inspection. The year 1982 was an important period for American coinage. The United States economy was changing, inflation remained a concern, and coins passed rapidly through the hands of millions of Americans every single day. At the Denver Mint, countless Washington quarters rolled off the presses, destined for banks, cash registers, vending machines, and pockets across the country. No one imagined that a few unusual pieces from that production year could one day become prized collectibles. The Washington quarter itself carries a rich history. Introduced in 1932 to honor America's first president, George Washington, the design quickly became one of the nation's most recognizable coins. By 1982, it had already become a familiar part of everyday life, yet its historical significance continued to grow with every passing decade. The 1982D Washington quarter was produced using the standard copper-nickel-clad composition. The outer layers consist of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. Each coin weighs approximately 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, has a thickness of about 1.75 millimeters, and features a reeded edge with 119 reeds. These specifications were designed to create a durable circulating coin capable of surviving years of daily use. Looking at the obverse, George Washington's portrait face is left beneath the word Liberty. The national motto, "In God We Trust," appears beside the portrait, while the date 1982 sits below. The small D mint mark identifies the coin as being struck in Denver. On the reverse, the powerful eagle spreads its wings above a bundle of arrows surrounded by olive branches, symbolizing America's readiness to defend peace while valuing freedom. Your featured coin is described as circulated with noticeable scratches and old green toning. Natural green toning develops over many years as the metal reacts with its environment. Among collectors, attractive original toning often adds character and visual appeal. However, toning alone does not create an extremely valuable coin. The real excitement begins when toning is combined with a genuine mint error or an exceptionally rare die variety. Collectors searching through 1982D quarters pay close attention to unusual characteristics. They examine the lettering for doubling, inspect the mint mark, study Washington's hair details, check the rim for off-center strikes, and search for dramatic die cracks or missing design elements. A quarter displaying a major mint error stands apart from millions of ordinary examples. One of the most exciting possibilities is a wrong planche strike, where a quarter is accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination. Other highly desirable errors include broad strikes, clipped planches, major off-center strikes, retained cuds, dramatic die breaks, or strong doubled dies. These mistakes occurred during production and are far different from scratches or damage caused after the coin entered circulation. Because rare mint errors are uncommon, authentication is essential. Professional grading services carefully inspect the coin to determine whether the unusual feature was created during the minting process. Certification also confirms the coin's condition, originality, and authenticity, giving collectors confidence when bidding at major auctions. Even a circulated coin can become the centerpiece of a serious collection if it possesses a dramatic, authenticated mint error. Auction history has shown that collectors compete aggressively for truly unique examples, sometimes driving prices to remarkable levels. What appears to be ordinary pocket change can suddenly become one of the most talked-about coins in an auction catalog. If you discover a 1982D Washington quarter with unusual characteristics, resist the temptation to clean it. Cleaning removes the original surface and usually reduces collector value. Instead, Place the coin in a protective holder and examine it carefully under bright lighting with a quality magnifying glass. Compare the details with known mint errors, and if the coin appears genuinely unusual, seek professional authentication before making any assumptions about its value. Many of the greatest coin discoveries have happened by accident. Collectors have found valuable pieces inside inherited collections, forgotten piggy banks, old coffee cans, estate sales, and even rolls of coins obtained from local banks. Their secret was simple. They paid attention to the smallest details that everyone else overlooked. The 1982D Washington quarter reminds us that every coin has a story waiting to be uncovered. Most circulated examples remain common and are worth only face value or a modest premium. But every once in a while, a rare authenticated mint error emerges from ordinary pocket change and captures the attention of the entire collecting community. That's why experienced collectors never rush to spend an old Washington quarter. The next remarkable discovery could already be sitting quietly in your collection, waiting for someone with a sharp eye to recognize its hidden potential.